from 42 people से अब तक बड़े माझे एग्जिट का होत नाही पुढचे डुमरे सर आवाज नाही येत ना सरांनी तुम्ही केले बरोबर मी काय केलं मला होतच नाही ऑनलाइन स्टार्ट नाही फटाकडे चेक कोण लोक लोक बसलेले लोक 15 मिनिटं आधी सोडून त्या प्रिन्सिपलचे काम झालं
Good morning, Damas sir. Good morning, Damas sir.
Hello.
सर गुड मॉर्निंग सभी को म्यूट करने के लिए सबको म्यूट रखना है मैं यहाँ पे किया हूँ और सार सर्च करूँ तो वहाँ पे बोल दीजिए सो ऑल पार्टिसिपेंट्स शुड बी म्यूट
Good morning, sir.
गुड मॉर्निंग सर
Morning, sir.
गुड मॉर्निंग
Good morning, sir.
गुड मॉर्निंग सर गुड मॉर्निंग
Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir.
सर का म्यूट
Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir. दिसते बरं का नाही असं सुद्धा दिसल ते बघ दिसत ना
Good morning to everyone. Kindly wait for some times because till now we have 300 participants already joined, waiting for the 200 participant.
2 मिनिट थांबते माणूस गुड मॉर्निंग सर
Good morning, sir.
नाइस टू सी यू
Nice to see you also. You too. Me too.
Just you have to wait for a while. Actually, still Atul Srigavkar sir has not been joined to the meeting. It will take next at least 5 to 10 minutes to join Atul Srigavkar sir, the today's speaker. You have to wait for him. नाही नाही थांबा ना. आता नाही चालू सर आले नाहीत अजून.
कुछ तो इंस्ट्रक्शन Okay. Good morning to one and all. Welcome back to our third series webinar on topic managing GMP within the QMS quality management system in the COVID-19 scenario. And today our speaker is Atul Srigavkar sir. So today at the end of the talk by the speaker sir, we'll arrange one questionnaire session. In the questionnaire session, you can ask your question directly, you can communicate with the speaker sir. So in your system, you can see the reaction. One ups is there, one point is there. You can raise your hand so that everybody can participate and everybody can be asked to any question to our sir. Last time we conducted second webinar, and in that webinar many participants they had asked many questions, and also we are not given any limited time, so we given unlimited, they can ask any question, and also our aim to get the satisfaction to all the participants. And because of that, last time many participants they had asked, they had communicated with the speaker. So this time what we decided with our organizations, all the participants they can ask the question to the speaker sir. At the same time, we are requesting you kindly ask only one question, because we are giving chance to everyone so that everybody they can participate and everybody they can be joined with us. Till now I can see near about 300 participants already joined. So kindly wait for some times. Our speaker sir will join very soon. So in that questionnaire session, you should raise your hand. After that only I can read your name. Then definitely we'll announce your name during the session. Definitely you can ask your question to your sir. At the same time, I'm very happy to say you that on 17th May, we are conducting the fourth series webinar that is related to herbal drugs, that is related to herbals only. And our next webinar speaker is Dr. Arvind sir. So that is yesterday we have received around 1,535 participants registered. This is a great achievement for us, and this is your love and affection towards our organizations. Till now, we have received 1,535. Still, tomorrow 1 o'clock. Tomorrow 1 o'clock we are going to close the link. By those who are not have done so, you can join. You can register by tomorrow itself. All the participants, they will get the certificate. It is compulsory, it is the mandatory, it is our responsible, will deliver the certificate to everyone. So 17th May, that means day after tomorrow, and we are conducting the another one. In that also you can join with us. As we know, our limit is 500 participants directly they can join with us, and because of that we are not admit to all the members, those who are having more than 500. That means some of the participant they are coming after 10 minutes, after 15 minutes. For them, I'm sorry to say I could not admit them because our capacity up to 500 only. Now I'm just forwarding this message. I'm hand over to Dr. Dama sir. Uh, 1 minute. Okay. Okay, so very soon our speaker sir will join. Kindly wait for some times. Yeah, just now I have seen one message, that is Pradnya. She given the message, that's a good morning sir. Can you please provide me the link of the fourth seminar? I have not registered in yet. So definitely Miss Pradnya will provide we will provide the link to everyone. So you can join with us. And one more thing, till now in all state, I have the list right now. That is Maharashtra, Sikkim, West Bengal, Odisha, Delhi, Uttar Pradesh, Haryana, and many states. If I'll see the list, it is except Andaman, we have received all the participant, registration participant. And because of that only our duty to give the good service to everyone. So we are waiting for the speaker, sir. Very soon, sir will come. Hello everyone, be with us. Just now we have received call from our speaker sir. Very soon he is joining with us. Be with us.
हम्म, हम्म. आता नाही मला काय होतंय बाकी कोणाच तुमचा आवाज मला ऐकू येत नाहीये.
काम करतोस. हा 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 आता येतोय सर.
हा ठीक आहे.
हा
हो बरोबर.
आता येते आपल्याला ऐकू. ओके
येते.
स्टार्ट द सेशन सर.
Yeah.
Hello.
So our speaker sir has joined with us. So as I discussed in previously, today topic is the managing GMP within the QMS in the COVID-19 scenario. So today's speaker is Atul Srigamkar sir. So he will give the speech on this topic only. Now I hand over to principal sir, Dr. Ganesh Vaidama sir, to take the in charge of this.
Okay. Very good morning to all of you. On behalf of Sharat Chandra Pawar College of Pharmacy and the coordinating team for this webinar and the staff of the Sharat Chandra Pawar College of Pharmacy, on behalf of all of them, I heartily welcome to all the participants for this today's webinar from the conventional teaching methods of the classroom towards the e-learning to this webinar type of the sessions. And I heartily welcome again to the today's expert, the today's speaker, Mr. Atul Srigamkar sir, who is going to highlight on the important points of the today's webinar, that is to manage your GMPs within the QMS in the COVID-19 scenario. Actually, Atul Srigamkar sir, who is associated with us from the last 10 years with our institutes, and he has delivered a number of the lectures on the personality developments for our students earlier also. And briefly, I want to introduce himself, that Mr. Atul Srigamkar sir, who has completed his graduation from Government College of Pharmacy, Karad. And I would like to know you all the participants that I am also one of the student of Government College of Pharmacy, Karad, and we are the Atul Srigamkar sir and myself, we are the alumni from the same college. And where Atul Srigamkar has completed from graduation from Karad College of Pharmacy, Master of Pharmacy from the Hopkins Institute, Mumbai, in regulatory and toxicology, and he has completed the number of the diploma courses in diploma in training and development from the New Delhi also. But he has a very rich experience of working in pharma industry also, and various disciplines and the capacity, and he's a consultant for for near of 34 years for the pharma industries, including 24 years of his consultancy practices. And he has traveled all over across the world, covering near about 19 countries, and trained near about 55,000 of the participants till date, and presented his views on pharmaceutical quality aspects at different national and international symposia. And he has also conducted more than 21,000 of the trainee program within India and overseas in GMP, as well as functional, technical, and behavioral aspects of management also. And he has addressed the number of symposia on GMP, quality, and management at various national and international level also. And he has conducted here about more than 150 GMP audits also for the industry, for in case of API, excipients, manufacturers, cosmetics, and so many audit he has been made to industry, for national and international industry also, for multinational companies also. This is the brief introductions of our today's speaker, Mr. Atul Srivastava sir. On behalf of the participants, today's participants, those who have been participating here from all over the India, and I request Atul Srivastava sir again to have a talk, to have the outlines about the present scenario in this COVID-19 60 about the GMP in QMS. Welcome, Atul Srivastava sir. Welcome, sir. And now over to Atul Srivastava sir.
Thank you, Dr. Dama. It is always a pleasure to interact with you and your team.
Yes, sir.
You all are very progressive and you do so many good things for the industry. I'm very happy, particularly during this time when the COVID-19 has attacked us from all the angles, and you are really concerned about knowledge and its sharing. And I'm happy that I'm a part of all this. And thank you for inviting me, and keep your good work going. So, friends, I think I should start my session now.
Yes, sir. Yes.
And you know, the title of my talk is Managing GMPs within the Quality Management Systems in the COVID-19 scenario. Now, really, you know, this topic is of great interest to everyone. For the industry, I did this webinar last week, and it was very well received by majority of senior folks from our. And it was a highly interactive one with a lot of questions and answers. But when I spoke with Dr. Ganesh Dama, and we realized that since quality assurance is a subject as a part of your curricula in the third year of pharmacy, plus if you are doing your MPharm quality assurance and pharmaceutics, there is a subject called good manufacturing practices there. Initially in colleges, you know, when I used to go and deliver my talks there, because people with knowledge of GMP within the academics were not available. Now they are very much there. So I had a pleasure in interacting with the students. So we said that why not have this topic for all the students and teachers across, and make it as far as possible easy and interesting without much technical hullabaloo that we do with the industry. So having said this, let us look at the term and understand what does it mean from the title is Managing GMPs. You know, it starts with two words, Managing GMPs. Now, the moment we use the word manage or management, the question comes to our mind is, where did this word arise from? The word called manage, or the word called management, where did it arise from? You know, the word manage comes from a Latin word manus, which means hand. And earlier it was used to people who used to ride horses, used to manage the horses. So manus, hand, using your own hand. But it became certainly popular in the US. And then books started coming in, research started happening all over, and to teach management subject to pharmacy colleges. I have been visiting faculty for AMA, the Product Productivity Council, I am sure. And you know, interestingly, when I lecture these folks and when we talk of management, they always say, yeah, there are books which are very complicated. Most of them are Western oriented. can we really make the definition of management easy? So that was challenge. See, making a definition and that very easy for everyone to understand is a greater challenge for anyone. So after a lot of process, throwing a lot of balls of paper into the waste bin, which normally you all do when you write love letters. We do this when we write definitions. Sorry?
सर थोडंसं व्हॉइस ऑडिओबल नाहीये आपला थोडंसं बघता येईल का म्हणजे बँडविड्थ कमी पडते वाटतं असं वाटतंय मला
पॉवर फेल्युअर आहे ना
थोडंसं साऊंड
बोलतो वाटल्यास
असं
volume and all is okay really, but then there's some issue here. Should I try hotspot or
Yes, sir.
am I audible?
हां सर नाही आता आहे
So I'll keep this position now, okay? And I'll speak a little loudly.
Okay sir.
Am I audible now? Clear to all?
Yes.
बंदच आहे अजून विल ट्राय बघू अजून हॉटस्पॉट ट्राय करून बघू मोबाईलचा बँडविड्थ कमी पडते असं हे पण येते एकच मिनिट द्या
हो सर
मला मी स्विच करतो
ओके
हेडसेट यूज केला तरी होईल असं वाटतं.
स्टेबल इंटरनेट कनेक्शन हेच कर
तुमच्या वाटतं माझा कनेक्ट करून बघूया आपण
Okay, now tell me, am I audible now?
Yes sir. Now it's okay.
Dr. Dama?
Yes sir.
So what I'll do is I'll try to speak a little loudly.
Okay.
And whatever best technology I have, because there's power failure. Yesterday there are heavy rains here.
Okay.
And as a result, there is power failure. So it's variable. The power is variable like.
No
so
problem.
I have logged in with my Geo dongle.
Okay.
And let's see. So whatever I spoke earlier, could people hear me or no?
Yes sir. Yes. Now you are best audible sir. Okay.
Yeah. So when we were discussing the title and we were talking about the word managing in the title, I was trying to tell all of you that the word manage comes from the Latin word manus, which means hand. And that was typically used to train war horses or any horses, with your own hand. Then suddenly the word executive became very popular in the US and people forgot managers because managers were found either in lodges or in circuses. So therefore the word executive started becoming very popular. But soon again we saw a change with this advent of MBA and the word manager again gained some prominence. So what happened, I worked as a visiting faculty for AMA Ahmedabad for 6 long years. I worked as visiting faculty. I still continue to work with IIM Indore, Baroda Productivity Council. And when I teach management there, the challenge often was, to make the subject easy for all the participants to understand. So then came a question, can we have a very simple, easy-going definition of the word management, which everyone would understand in a go. And it's really a big challenge for all teachers to make the subject easy and make definitions easy in particular. I hope I am audible to all. Am I audible to all?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You
Yes,
are
sir.
audible.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let me continue this way. So, then when you're making a presentation, typically designing a definition or coining a definition, we say is a big challenge. So, like then it starts that you write on paper, you make the balls and throw them in the waste paper bin. While you all do it when writing good love letters, we do it while designing our lectures. So the definition of the word management, to make it very easy, was a little challenging. Yeah. Am I audible?
Yes,
Am I
sir.
audible to all?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Can I continue?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, because I'm seeing a lot of question marks on your faces. Therefore, I'm
No,
little
no,
worried
no, no,
that
no, no,
whether
sir,
I'm
no,
audible or not.
No, no, you are audible.
Shall I continue?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You can continue, sir.
Ah,
No.
Yeah, so then, we thought of coining a simple definition of the word management, and I came across a concept called, what is management? Converting resources into results is the most simplest definition of the word management. You have resources, you have to convert them into results. Now, this is okay for a global manager, right? But for an Indian manager, if you have to define what is an Indian manager, I would define him as a person who converts less than adequate resources into more than adequate results, because he's always doing firefighting. He doesn't get anything on a platter. Rather, he doesn't get anything smooth. He always has to struggle. So managing the GMPs within the COVID scenario was the title. So I explained to you what is meant by managing. Now let us also try and understand what is meant by the word GMP. Okay, as you all know, if you open the abbreviation, it is good manufacturing practices. And the latest definition of good manufacturing practices comes from chapter 1 of the EU GMP guide. And title of that chapter is Pharmaceutical Quality Systems. So in this chapter, they have defined what is meant by GMPs, and they define it as GMP is that part of quality management. So it's a broad picture that they're speaking about, that it is that part of quality management which ensures that products are consistently manufactured and controlled. So what is the objective? If I'm manufacturing a product, I must be consistent about it. So what is meant by consistency? It is the quality of reliability and it is the quality of reproducibility. So products are consistently manufactured and controlled to the quality standards appropriate to their intended use and as required by the marketing authorization. Now see, the definition is complex. It was not as simple as I defined management for you, because I have not coined this definition. It comes from WHO, World Health Organization. It comes from the European Union, which says GMP is that part of quality management. Now this again brings in front of us what is meant by the word quality when we speak about pharmaceuticals. Now see, it's very intriguing because its quality is a little complex, though we hear this word, we have been hearing this since our childhood. Many people speak about it, but when we really try to define quality and coin it in words, it becomes a difficult judgment call. Okay. Now take an example, Dr. Dama buys a shirt and, he comes home, opens the pack and shows it to his wife. Wife says, is this your choice? Oh no, horrible. So go and return and bring it back. Now he gets a good shirt of her choice, her color, her design. And suddenly she says, it's all good, but have you noticed that you didn't check it before buying? Said, what happened? The button is broken. One of the buttons is missing. So what is the choice now? Go to the shopkeeper, show that shirt, get a replacement. Okay, or the shopkeeper will say, leave the shirt here, I'll mend it for you and I'll return it to you in a couple of days. But if he consumes a tablet in his body, whom is he going to return to, right? So remember, when we say quality of a pharmaceutical, we always have a beautiful sentence coined for it. Whatever is tested cannot be used, and whatever is used cannot be tested, right? So the responsibility placed on making a quality product, and that too doing it each time, every time in a similar manner, that is what we call as consistency. So what is the definition of GMP saying? GMP is that part of quality management. So therefore now comes a question, how do we define quality in reality? Is there a definition that is there? Yes, there are two definitions of quality available as far as a pharmaceutical product is concerned. The first definition comes from a body called ICH, International Conference on Harmonization. Now this is a worldwide agency, and in its quality guidelines, typically guideline is titled as Q6A, which is called as specifications. They define quality as, in a very simple manner, see, very simple manner, they say, what is quality? They say suitability. Very interesting definition, look at it. Suitability of a drug substance or a drug product for its intended use. Now very interesting, see, suitability of a drug substance. What is a drug substance? It is known as an active pharmaceutical ingredient or an API, right? And suitability of a drug substance or a drug product is a finished dosage form, which, you know, many people call it as a formulation, which is not a scientific word. We call it as finished dosage form. So suitability of a drug product or a drug substance or a drug product for its intended use. The intended use clause is very important. It is suitable for its intended use. What does that mean? You produce a suspension, you know, liquid oral suspension, and you produce a cream. Okay. Now the viscosity will not be similar there. Why? Spreadability is an important characteristic as far as a cream or an ointment is concerned. And a suspension should suspend a drug, and then the right kind of dosage should enter into your body. The requirements change. So suitability of a drug product or a drug substance for its intended use. Then they said, okay, you have defined quality this way, but then it talks only essentially about product. Okay. So it doesn't embed those things which are really required for quality. So when ICH Q9, a guideline titled ICH, called ICH coded ICH Q9, which is quality risk management, was released in the year 2005, they defined quality on the lines of ISO standards. So what is the current definition of quality given in ICH Q9, which is titled as quality risk management? It said degree to which a set of inherent properties of product process systems fulfills the requirements. So further complicated. Now when we use the word degree, right? What happens? We have learned it in our grammar that it is positive, comparative, superlative. So use the terms good, better, best if you are happy with quality. Or you use bad, worse, worse to indicate a third-rate quality endeavor also. So that's the degree part which we are talking. Degree to which a set, it's a set, you know, there's not a single property. Okay, take an example of a tablet. It must have right kind of disintegration. It must have right kind of appearance. It must have right kind of shape. It must have right kind of size. It must dissolve correctly in your body. It must carry the drug in the mainstream and take it to the target site. So it's not one single property that we are talking about, but we're talking of a set of properties. So degree to which a set of inherent properties of what? Product, process, systems fulfills the requirements. Which requirements? We are legally bound. Okay. So, and the customer states it. We are all customer driven. So GMP says, you know, the definition of GMP says, is that part of quality management which ensures that products are consistently manufactured and controlled to the quality standards appropriate to their intended use and as required by the marketing authorization. So intended use clause comes in GMP. Marketing authorization means a permission given to you by the regulatory agency to manufacture and sell your product into a particular country, right? So having said this, managing GMPs within the COVID time. So you all know what is COVID time. We all are facing it. Okay. So the uncertainty that has thrown to us from all angles and in all sectors has affected pharma as well. So what is covered in GMP? Let's try and understand. And therefore, with this, we will be able to realize what has really changed in the COVID times to the GMPs. If you look at GMPs or good manufacturing practices, in majority of the guidelines around the world, there are 9 chapters that are covered there. Chapter 1 is titled as Quality Management in WHO and various other guidelines. But the European Union has titled this guideline, this chapter as Pharmaceutical Quality Systems. So this is a very important chapter because it defines a quality system for pharmaceuticals very specifically. So what is a quality system again? See, when you say system, what does that really mean? Does your college have a system? Or anybody can walk and attend lectures? Anybody can come and take admissions? Okay, the way he wants, whenever he wants. No, there is a system that has been defined that you have to fill a form at a particular time. It will be screened centrally. Then you will, if you have that merit, you will get admission at the requisite places. So this is a sum total of arrangements that fulfills the organization's objective in quality. And what does the management do over here? It directs, shows the way, and it controls what way you are traveling in terms of quality. So first chapter is pharmaceutical quality system. The second chapter of GMP talks about personnel. See, very simple. Who has designed systems in your colleges? Okay, they are all people. Who follow the systems in your colleges? They are all people. Who violates the systems in your colleges? They are all people. Okay, so it all relies around people. Okay, people are responsible for each and everything, good or bad. Okay, so chapter 2 is on personnel. And in GMP, what kind of personnel must work in the pharmaceutical industry is defined in greater detail. But to sum it up, you know, it is said that people who work in the pharmaceutical industry must have right kind of education. 2, they must have requisite experience. 3, they must be provided with regular training to discharge the duties and the tasks that have been assigned to them. Now, education, what is a one-time activity? Okay. You take a degree in your college, finish, the matter ends. You maintain yourself lifelong. You don't really get any new education. That is what is said. Okay. And then I need not comment when I'm talking to all the people in the educational institute on our current system of education. But what Mark Twain said was a very beautiful sentence. He said, I was born intelligent, but education ruined me. God knows what he means to say. But without that education, pharma industry will not allow you. So they give, the organization decides the person should be B.Pharm, M.Pharm, PhD, whatever. And those norms are laid, right? Then experience. Experience of what? We say experience has to be relevant. Okay. Relevant to what? The nature of duties that you need to perform. Unfortunately, it is measured in years, isn't it? That is a tragedy really. Because when I meet 20 years worth of experience a person has, when I talk to him 20 minutes, I realize how much he has really worked in the industry. Okay. So does he have 2 years of experience which has gone repeating for 10 years and multiplying it, saying I have 20 years of experience? So this happens unfortunately. So when we talk of relevance of experience, it becomes very important. How training and experience go hand in hand? I am always reminded of a small story here. We all learned in our childhood Aesop's fables, and you all remember the story of monkey and the cap seller. There are 2 versions of this story, version 1, version 2. What is version 1? We all learned that a cap seller would take a basket full of cap and then move around the town and he would sell the cap. So once it happened that it was scorching heat, he was pretty tired. So he said, let me rest beneath the tree. When he rested beneath that tree, suddenly he fell asleep. He was very tired. And when he woke up, to his dismay, he found that all the caps that he had kept in the basket have disappeared. He started wondering, where have they gone? He started looking around. He could not see those caps. Then suddenly he looked up. He saw The monkeys sitting on the tree are wearing the caps. So, natural reaction, he shoved the monkeys. Get my caps, he said. The monkeys waved at him similar manner, the way he did, because the proverb, na? Monkey sees, monkey does. Right? So they waved him back. So he shouted loudly. The monkeys also shouted loudly. So the cap seller was wise enough to understand that monkeys are imitating me, that is, they're doing whatever I am doing. So he hit upon an idea. He just removed his cap and threw it down. What happened as a result? The monkeys threw the cap down. The cap seller was happy, carried all his caps back and came back home. Now version 2 of the story starts. The cap seller has a son who does his MBA from IIM Ahmedabad and comes back and tells his father, Dad, age long I have seen you selling the caps in the basket. Did you do something to improve your business? Did you expand your sales? Did you have sales forecasting? Did you do strategy? Father said, today I feel I invested in you, pinned up all my by sending you to Ahmedabad. I am very tired of doing all this rubbish. From tomorrow onwards, do whatever you want. You sell the caps and take over the business. It's all yours. One advice I would like to give you, he said, that all business is learned by working in the field. So unless and until you tire your souls, you are not going to get the soul of the business. So go there, do your own work, and then learn the techniques and start selling the caps. So those were the days where children used to listen to their fathers. So the man went and he sold caps. And one day same thing happened. He fell asleep under the tree. And then he woke up to find out that all the caps have disappeared. Suddenly he remembered his father's advice, that all the caps have disappeared. Now what I must do? Why do all the 3 things? Let me throw the caps so that the monkeys will throw them back. There were 23 caps in his basket. He was MBA, so he used to have the inventory count. 23 caps in the basket. And on the tree, there were 24 monkeys. 23 were wearing his caps and the 24th monkey was without the cap. So this chap just repeated what his father did. He threw the cap down. Nothing happened in the 5 minutes. He was expecting monkeys to throw the cap down. They didn't do that. In fact, after 5 minutes, the 24th monkey, on whose head cap was not there, came down, picked up that cap and ran away. Now he came and told his father, Father, not only I lost all the caps, but I lost my cap also. Father smiled at him and said, look, the way I have trained you how to do your business, don't you think the leader of the monkeys must have trained the monkeys that don't repeat your mistake again? So this is how training and experience, they always go hand in hand. So chapter 2, which talks about 3 important things of personnel, is the most important chapter which has been changed or is undergoing tremendous change with the new information that is unfolding on the COVID-19 scenario. The 3rd chapter is titled in most of the GMPs as buildings and facilities. WHO titles this as premises. We in India have a typically separate section in that chapter called locations and surroundings. Because in Indian conditions, in which locations and surroundings the plant has been adequately specified. Says a pharmaceutical plant shall not be located near open drains, sewages, public lavatories, or a factory that lets out obnoxious smoke, soot, dirt, and dust. So this is a typical requirement that is given so that we don't want the products that we are producing should contaminate and cause risks to the patient who are using them. That is the whole crux of it. So buildings and facilities. Now, there are no structural changes to the facilities in this COVID era, but there are some system related changes that are required to be done in this scenario. Then chapter 4 is on documentation. Okay. So certainly, yes, documentation aspects are going to change. Why they are going to change? 2 simple reasons now. Not all pharmaceutical plants are working to full capacity and occupancy. Because the feedback that I get that the occupancy of people in pharmaceutical plants is ranging somewhere from 40% to 70%. So the paper documentation that is handled by people in the plant is not happening very easily. So work from home scenarios have become very common. Now, whenever I am working from home, therefore I am resorting to a documentation system which is called as an electronic documentation system. So what systems will be important by which the reliability and authority of an electronic document will match that of a paper output. So this is a challenge that will be placed in terms of the documentation. Chapter 5 is on production or manufacturing controls is the title that is given by majority of the folks. And chapter 6 is on laboratory controls or quality control. Different titles are possible as far as the requirements of different countries. Okay. Chapter 7 is titled as outsourced activities. Now, what is meant by outsourced activities? Okay. I do not have an in-house arrangement, or my factory doesn't have that department or arrangement which is under my supervision and I run it. So what do? I pay someone that service. I pay someone for that service and I outsource it from them. So any GMP impacting service you outsource, lot of responsibilities are placed upon you because you are the contract giver and the other party is called as the contract acceptor. So both responsibilities become very important in this chapter 7, which is titled as outsourced activities. So this also will be changed in the post-COVID scenario or in the COVID scenario right now. Then chapter 8 is on distribution control. That is, once you manufacture a product, the key is that it must reach the patient with all the considered specifications so that the patient will get the product which is safe, pure, and effective. 3 important yardsticks of a pharmaceutical product. So it's not that you just make, manufacture, pack and forget, but you have to distribute it in a manner by which the efficacy of the drug is not lost at all. It is at the same level when it was manufactured and stored at the manufacturer's end. So there a concept called GDP, that is good distribution practice, comes into play. So therefore the chapter 8 is on good distribution controls or good distribution practices, and it also deals with another important subtopic which is called as market complaints and recalls, right? Because as I told you, in other commodities, complaint means replacement. Here the complaint can come when the product is gone inside the body of an individual. So it could be near fatal scenario. And maybe because of the risk that is posed to large number of individuals who are consuming your product, you may have to recall your product because it's not necessary that it's be imperfect or defective, but it must have not been followed or manufactured as per the GMP requirements. Okay. And the last chapter is on self-inspection and or internal audits. It is like a health check of your quality system. You know, it's a diagnostic tool where you diagnose how your quality system is functioning so that you are able to, prevent or plug the hole that can sink a big ship. So these are the 9 chapters of GMP, and now let us look at one by one, try to explain you in an easy manner that during the COVID, what is really changed. For the time being, let's keep our chapter on quality management system little aside. Okay. What we will try to do is we'll start with the chapter personnel. Why? As I told you, everything depends upon people. Okay. Now, when I complimented Dama that his team is good, it is because of the people he has. And every time when I come there at his college, it's very neatly arranged. I remember I get down from my car, I receive a call at that time from Dr. Bidkar. And in my en route, Dr. Dama will call me twice. Sir, where are you? Okay. Is there traffic on the roads? Have you taken tea, snacks in between? Okay. Or you come here directly, we'll arrange. And then Dr. Bidkar knows my food choice also. He'll take me to the restaurant where I have dal fry and roti. Bas, that's my simple need. Then he'll again take efforts to drop me at the hotel. God knows his wife, whether she appreciates all this or not. But he says one day doesn't matter, sir. So, and in the morning also, Dr. Bidkar will make an announcement. He'll write on the notice board that Atul sir is very particular as far as time is concerned. Report early. And as it happens always, I reach the venue half an hour earlier, and I'm greeted by the lock or the peon who is about to open the lock or brooming, sweeping the college. Okay. So then consultants like me who poke their long nose everywhere, try and see something which they never have seen, should have seen. Then I come and tell them, Arey, look at your display where you have displayed the products. They are so old and outdated now. Why don't you change few of them? Now they always tell me, sir, it is in the pipeline. 4 years I get this answer. So I asked Dr. Bidkar, your pipeline, does it have a mouth or not? Something comes out of it or not? Okay. So they know me and I make such comments and I'm open with them. Okay. So, when you gray, have a white beard and white hair, people generally respect your experience. So they don't say anything to me. So people, it rallies around people. So now look at it. Supposing you are having a factory in Navi Mumbai and you are having factory in Mumbai, what it is called as, or Pune for that matter. We call them as epicenters of COVID. They are going to be hotspot and people are bound to travel from there. Okay. So now we never used to have a structured standard operating procedure or SOP for entry from the plant gate for employees, because every employee would walk in, he would go to the change room, okay, he would just go by biometry or signature, whatever, go to the change room, change, remove his street clothes, walk in his factory attire and start his work. Now the first concern is when people are traveling through the city, when people are traveling from particular areas, how do you ensure to start with that they are not, carriers or COVID, or they are not infected with COVID? So the first important requirement is that at the gate now, there is a staggering entry process. So if the shift is from 8 o'clock to 5 o'clock, people are asked to enter turn by turn in the rotation, right from 6:30, so that by 8 o'clock, all people enter inside. So when they bring their vehicles inside, what is required? The tires have to be disinfected. They will be sprayed with a sanitizing agent. Now this is called as a biosecurity measure, particularly those vehicles who are required to be parked within the plant premises. So they are sprayed with adequate sanitizing agent. And when people get in, at the security, a management representative is there with a IR thermometer, which reads their temperature. So we as consultants suggest, when you read the temperature and you find it to be acceptable, but the person is not looking good to you physically, ask him, did he consume paracetamol the previous night? Did he consume a painkiller the previous night? Did he consume an antipyretic the previous night? Because what is going to happen, that is going to give you false results. And these thermometers, which people are going to use, must be calibrated at regular intervals. And how, and they cannot be Chinese, they're not reliable. They should at least be German made, which is considered as to be reliable. So first, it will start by formulating a procedure or writing a procedure for entering through the main gate into the plant premises. Okay. Medical checks on personnel, now this SOP will change. Now you see a suspect, you isolate him immediately. You ask him which were the plant employees who came in contact with them. Third, he used to ride a bicycle with all wind blowing through all the directions. Now it is mandatory that he wears a mask the moment he leaves the residence and reaches the plant. Now this brings in again two important questions. The mask that he is using, is he a reusable one or is he a disposable? Using a disposable. Now let us take an example. He is using a disposable mask. Now there must be a proper method of disposal of that mask. Not only that, there must be a standard operating procedure to the level of detail which says how a mask must be removed. Step number 1, the mask must always be removed from behind. Step number 2, the front portion of the mask should not be touched by your hands. Step number 3, it must be disposed in a manner in a closed foot operated bin wherein it should not cause a hazard, because you all know that COVID spreads through droplets. It's a community contact disease. So accidentally, if he has contacted the droplets, the risk gets mitigated at that particular level. So don't touch your mask while you're discarding them, and discard them in a manner that it won't cause an additional biohazard. Plus, the waste disposal methodologies of the companies will have to address how safely they will be disposing it without causing community issues. So this at the starting point will happen. Now let us consider he has a mask which is reusable. So he has to carry a small poly bag in which he will fold the mask in the manner by which he does not the front and keeps it inside that bag. And the moment he goes outside the factory premises, he dons that mask. Okay. Another myth is that N95 masks are essential there. Not required at all. Those are required only for those workers who move into healthcare facilities where they are directly coming in touch with the COVID patients. Now comes $1 million question. Can I make a mask equivalent to that of N95? Very easy, sir. Okay. Take a mask, any mask, or take your handkerchief for that matter. Okay. Take a good food grade plastic sheet. Cut it to the shape of the mask. Put some perforations to that plastic sheet so that you can breathe. And now tie it. What are the advantages? Whatever droplets you are having, you are not throwing them outside. There is a plastic barrier in between. Whatever droplets are coming will not come inside because there is a plastic barrier in between. So it serves the purpose to the accuracy of about 85% in comparison with a N95 mask. Simple mechanism. Very simple mechanism. You can use it daily also. Okay. So the people now they discard this, but be careful. Breathability is important there when you're traveling long distances, particularly. It should be food grade plastic where it has a higher permeability. So the person comes inside. Now in the factory, we'll have segregated entry for material through the main gate and segregated entry for employees. Now those truck drivers, again, their trucks also will be sanitized. The truck drivers will have to wear all this kind of gadgets, safety gadgets. They have to follow the company procedures. And now the employees will have to go to the change room. This all will be done maintaining the social distancing norms. Now the change rooms are known as rooms of maximum occupancy. So there also people will use the social distancing. Not more than 3 to 4 people, depending upon the size of the change rooms, will be allowed inside now. And all this will be documented. Video-based evidences will be generated. Okay. Now we have heard in the news of 2 manufacturing facilities where had to be shut down because employees were found to be suspect of COVID. And not only the company, one company, the first company which reported this, they have taken a proactive initiative along with the person, their employee. They have also quarantined their families as a part of social responsibility. So, whole in all, when we talk of consistency and quality of the medicines, we have to ensure that our patients or customers who receive the medicines receive it with proper quality, whereby we are not posing an undue health risk to the health of the employees. So, 2 standard operating procedures, that is SOP for entry into the plant premises and SOP for entry into the manufacturing areas, will now undergo a change. Okay. So why it will undergo, which is the third SOP that will undergo change? 5 SOPs will change in line with this. The third SOP will be medical checks on personnel. What is the norm as per the Industrial Safety Act and what is documented in Schedule M of India, which says that medical checkup is mandatory prior to the employment of the individual. That is when he gets confirmed employment, and thereafter it will be done at least once in a year. And our Schedule M is a guideline which says that people must be free from contagious or communicable diseases. So it's amply clear, right from 1988 when Schedule M was written, when there was no COVID also. It says very clearly it must be free from communicable or contagious diseases. Now in COVID times, it will put an extra pressure on this. So medical checks, because this check, kind of a check before entry to the plant for all the employees, is not advocated. So it was not advocated so far, which has now been added to the new quality system. So the third SOP that is likely to change is an SOP on personal hygiene. That is using masks when you travel from your home. And if there are buses, company buses have to be sanitized. Safe distancing, social distancing has to be maintained in the buses. Seats will have to be earmarked, where people should sit, where people should not sit. Whole in all, the industry is making an attempt to prevent the transmit of this disease, which is likely to assume gigantic numbers of sooner or later if we don't follow all this. So these 4 SOPs will definitely change. Now, again, sanitizing. There are certain facts about sanitization and there are certain myths about sanitization. Okay. Now, 2 facts and 2 myths we should deal about. Okay. First, should I sanitize my hands if I wash them? Is an important question. Okay. When you're washing your hands, what are you doing? Understand, you're cleaning your hands, right? You're not sanitizing them. Ask a microbiologist, he would say your hands are clean. I always give a small analogy to students. You're walking on the road and your foot slips and you fall down. No, this should not happen. I don't feel that I'm thinking bad about you. I'm visualizing bad things about you. Should this happen? When you feel you're slipping and you're about to fall down, what do? You prevent the fall of your body with both your hands down on the ground. And you get up. When you get up, you see that your hands are full of mud. What is your first instant reflex action that you would do? Don't you do like this? You do that. And the moment you do that, you look at your hand, it is full of mud. You go to the wash basin, you turn the tap, hold your hand under running water, but you still see some residue of mud still remaining on my hands. So you pick up a soap, you lather it sufficiently. Now you hold it below the running water, and now you are happy. You say, my hands are clean. There comes a microbiologist, say, your hands are clean, he said, but are they free from microorganisms? Say, oh, I never thought about this. So he said, apply Dettol, Savlon, 70% isopropyl alcohol. He said, oh, I have applied antiseptic to my hands. So cleaning is physical and chemical means of removing unwanted material from a surface, whereas antiseptic is applying a chemical agent on a living tissue which kills all the microorganisms except few of the spores, right? So when you say sanitizer, what does that mean? It means it brings down the bioburden on your hand or any surface to an acceptable level. It reduces it. It does not guarantee or assure you that it is free from all the microorganisms. And freedom from life or microorganism, we use the word sterile, that is freedom from life, right? So, yes, when you wash your hands and when you are entering the factory premises, you must apply hand sanitizer. Now you see all those ads on television, 20 seconds, haath dho lo, ye serial tumhari raah dekh raha hai, wo raah dekh raha hai. They make emotional things about you. But what is the correct way to apply a hand sanitizer? Okay, I am talking about non-viscous, alcohol-based hand sanitizer. It's Sterilium, Bacterium, or isopropyl alcohol, 70%, whatever it is. I don't know whether I'll be able to demonstrate here in front of camera to you. I'll try to do that. See, this is your palm, right? Okay. You take a bottle of a sanitizer this way. Okay. It's foot operated these days in the pharmaceutical industry in COVID era. So take the sanitizer in a manner which is sufficient to wet both your palms. Okay. Now the next hand doesn't have a sanitizer, right? So this hand, now start from the bottom of your wrist and go to the end of the wrist of this hand where you're applying the sanitizer which is already there on your palm. Okay. So I repeat my action again. First step is this, wrist to wrist. Okay. Now what you do as a second step now, take the individual fingers and start rubbing them from the base till the tip of the finger. Okay. Right. So what are you ensuring through this? Entire coverage of finger, including the webs which are the bigger culprits. Third, now interlock your webs, rub them for 2 to 3 times. Now second thing what you do is, as you have applied the sanitizer here, okay, now turn this way. So this ensures maximum hand coverage, and this is not my idea. This is neither my recommendation. There is a body called CDC, Center for Disease Control, and they have given the best mechanism of hand disinfection because they have done an experiment with around 200 odd people and different ways. This way, which is very common that we do. This way, which is very common that we do. Many techniques of hand disinfection were studied and swabs from fingers were taken, finger dabs were taken, and this was found to be the most effective way of applying sanitizer to the hands. Okay. Now the question will come in your mind, do I do this in a domestic setup? Not really required. Okay. Here, the risks are different, the demands are different. Therefore, we do follow this mechanism in the industry because the inspectors from various regulatory agencies come and they ask you to demonstrate hand washing procedures. Okay. So these 5 SOPs which I discussed with you as far as personnel are concerned will change. And apart from that, another important SOP called SOP on training will change. Now see, I am operating my plant at 70% capacity, 50% capacity, 40% capacity. So I am tempted now to use a manpower which is non-regular because absenteeism is there. So US FDA has given us a good guideline on how to deal with absenteeism while manufacturing a quality product. See, regulatory agencies have been proactive in issuing these guidelines to you. By US FDA, I mean United States Food and Drug Administration. So now I want a person to be trained. I am having a non-regular employee. Tomorrow, does he cause a risk of contamination to the patient because he is not familiar with that manufacturing? Yes, the risk is there. So how do I mitigate this risk? I train the person first and then I deploy him in the area and he is additionally supervised by someone who is a subject matter expert. So this eliminates the possibility, even though I am using a non-expert person, I record this, I document this, I evaluate the training that has been given to him so that it is ensured that technically competent people, skilled people manufacture a product, quality product, which in turn helps the patient to faithfully consume it. Because its faith is very important. In quality, we say that reliability is pretty important. It's like the Holy Bible which says faith is like fever. It is caught, it cannot be taught. So you have a faith in the product manufactured and the faith comes from the people who produce it. You have headache, you instantly say crocin. How many of you have seen the factory where crocin is produced? Do you know what quality of material they use? You never know a single ABCD of it. Your pharmacist, you may know a little, but in your neighboring vicinity, you know, illiterate people also say, Sir, mein dard ho raha hai, crocin dena bhai. So it's synonymous with quality. The trust is earned this way. And this trust doesn't come overnight. It comes from years and years of efforts which are consistently taken. So people are responsible for everything. So manufacturing by trained people. So these are the 5 SOPs in the COVID scenario, which are likely to change for good, keeping in mind the customer. Now let us come to premises. Okay. We now, by default, have started sanitizing our premises from outside. And you will be surprised, suddenly COVID aane ke baad ye achanak neend kaise khul gayi pharma industry ki? Bilkul nahi hai sir. It's not like that. We have been doing it right from the beginning. We have standard operating procedures for planned preventive maintenance of buildings and facilities from outside as well as inside. Okay. And not only that, the Industrial Act, the Factories Act 63 of 1948 tells us that if your factory is painted by oil paint from outside, if your factory is painted by cement paint from outside, what should be your frequency for cleaning and sanitizing it, and how you should maintain the records. So you will see few factories are not cleaning and sanitizing the premises from outside, but few are doing it. Why they are doing it? Yeah, because their schedule is due. Why others are not doing it? Their schedule is not due. As simple as that. We avoid overdoing in the pharma industry, but we also err on the side of caution a little. Why? We should not pose through anything a risk to our patient. So sanitization of buildings and premises by using an appropriate disinfectant. Okay. Then entry and exit of personnel through change rooms, sanitization measures adopted by them. And we all, what do we do in the pharmaceutical industry? When we do cleaning first, because cleaning is considered as a prerequisite to disinfection. So we do cleaning first and then we apply a disinfectant. And we also do rotation of these disinfectants in a weekly manner to provide broad spectrum of bactericidal, fungicidal activity that is desired. Okay. So now the rotation of disinfectants will change. Probably we'll try to add in our spectrum any disinfectant which will probably provide a broad spectrum of virucidal activity. You cannot say it will act specifically against C19, but you will at least be proactive a little in adding a virucidal cleaning agent, sanitizing agent or a disinfecting agent to your cleaning programs. Okay. Then another important thing is, you all know majority of the contamination that happens around us happens through water or through air. So to control air in industry, we have a system which is called as heating, ventilation, air conditioning system. And in short form, it is called as a HVAC system, right? Now see, what does WHO research tell us? WHO research tells us that if your temperature is up between 25 to 30 degrees, 30% of the C19 viruses will go away. If the temperature is between 30 and 35, 60% of it will go away. And if your temperature is above 40, chances are 80%, and at 52 to 56 degrees, it will completely go away. Now, can you keep temperature at 52 to 56 degrees while you're producing a product? Imagine what will happen. Okay. Because the maximum temperature that I have witnessed myself is in the Gulf countries, peak summers when I go for training. So you have to move from the office and walk to your car. By the time, you know, my face changes its color. The temperature is 50 plus. Okay. Right. And second one I witnessed was at a city called Tempe in Arizona in the US, where my flight was delayed on account of the tarmac that is there, where the flights land, melts. The tarmac melts between 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. So all the flights will land after 7 p.m. because it solidifies again. So there, look at the heat, 50 degrees plus, what goes wrong. So you cannot have it here in your manufacturing facility. Another important thing is the relative humidity factor. What is relative humidity for boys and girls, students? It is the capacity of the air to hold moisture at a given temperature. So if I say it's 50% now, which means the air contains 50% moisture. So what will happen to the droplets? So an optimum humidity is required. Now temperature and humidity is controlled by this HVAC system, which is linked to the buildings and facilities. Okay. So you have to maintain that temperature. You have to maintain that relative humidity by providing an atmosphere which is not very conducive to the growth of these organisms, should they find their entry inside. So the biggest risk will be now for certain capsule manufacturers who have to produce their product with low relative humidity. So all these are the challenges of manufacturing quality products. So look students, dear students, look at the efforts that are put by a pharma industry. And it pains me when I only see other professions glorified that they're fighting against COVID. We all are fighting, and we are fighting a bigger battle. Okay, right? We ourselves are at a risk of all this. We have to be mentally and physically alert all those time when we are manufacturing a quality product. Now, the electronic documentation part deals with electronic signatures, authorized signatures, attributable data entry. All these are important factors when we talk of data integrity of electronic records. So if someone is sitting at home and approving a document for decision making on quality of a product, I must know that it is attributable to that person. I must know it is authentic. I must know it's very reliable. So the computer systems or the electronic systems that are present and that are used, you know, must have access codes, must have passwords, must be adequately validated to prove their authenticity and reliability, because the data integrity concern is always going to be very high there, right? The next is laboratory controls. Okay, scheduling the activities of testing, prioritizing them, putting extra hours, ensuring that the product that is manufactured through adequate testing and by reliable people meets the specifications. Okay, following of standard operating procedures in the laboratory, changing those SOPs, like what for an example, what will happen if a person who is supposed to do a stability testing is on leave? How will you handle this scenario? Okay. What is the time window that is given to you? How will you defer it with a scientific justification? Okay. Plus all the other, how will you ensure that your glassware which you are using is free from this kind of contamination, organic contamination? All these are the challenges that pose to you in front of this, in this COVID scenario, right? And then whatever GMP impacting activity. Now take an example. We have got contractual labor who come and work inside the plants. Now the pressure placed on the contractor is such that he has to first initially screen all the contractual employees and then say, give a certificate to the organization that, look, the employees that I'm providing you for work are free from COVID infections. Now, these kind of modifications to the contracts for outsourced GMP activities are mandated as an example. And there are many such contracts, like there are calibration contracts, there are cleaning contracts, there are your HVAC contracts. So majority of the contracts which are GMP impacting will be revised in the COVID scenario to incorporate those additional precautions which will prevent the community contact and spread through of COVID. Dicto same is when you distribute a product, certain waivers are given now by the regulatory agencies for good distribution practices. Typically waivers of the timelines if your mean kinetic temperatures have been assessed and your product is found to be stable to handle the excursions and delays because of the disrupted transport mechanisms, with the whole goal that finally the customer, when he gets the product, must get it in a proper manner. So as the incoming material is protected in the pharmaceutical plant, so as the outgoing finished products are also protected. And to see whether everything is working as per the required systems, pharmaceutical quality systems during the COVID times, a self-inspection or internal audit by a competent team is carried out at routine frequencies to vouch for the systems of the organization to ensure its reliability and its consistency. So in the changing COVID times, the pressures placed on manufacturing and testing folks are going to be pretty high. Situations are going to be demanding, and the strength lies in change management systems, which will ensure that our systems are kept up to date and the risks of to the quality of the product and to the patients and compliance to the regulatory agencies are reduced. And in the COVID challenging times, I'm sure the pharmaceutical industry has geared up, is gearing up, continuously improves and regenerates itself through its systems to ensure a consistent quality product. Thank you. This is what I had to say. Thank you so much.
MP sir, Jain. Hello, sir.
Hello.
Ah.
Yeah, sir, thank you very much for your giving the good suggestion to all the participants. So now the questionnaire session. So I request to all the participants, kindly raise your hand if you want to talk with our speaker, sir. And if you want to directly communicate with the sir, so kindly raise your hand. The first participant, Dr. Sonia Narwal. So now I'm making unmute. So kindly ask your question to our speaker, sir. Okay.
Hello.
So might be having hello.
Yeah, I'm there. Please. Let her ask the question.
Okay, might be having network problem. Okay. So next we'll move to the next participant, Madan Gopal. Madan Gopal.
One minute, doctor.
Yes, sir.
Doctor, one sec. I'll just change my internet settings for better connectivity.
Yeah, sure, sir.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, wait, Madan Gopal, sir.
Yes, sir. Madan Gopal, sir. Sir, good afternoon, sir.
Just wait, sir. Just wait for a while because
Madan
sir
Gopal,
is
sir,
changing
kindly
his
wait.
network.
Our speaker, sir, will connect very soon.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, continue, sir.
Sir, I have one doubt, sir.
Yeah, Madan, please go ahead.
Sir, you said contract people can be sanitized who has to be working in the GMP working area. But some cases, suppose now when they're working now, whatever the COVID is not there, after some few days, may chances to get a COVID positive. Then
Okay.
how is to be impact onto the quality of a product?
Correct. So see what happens. What is the first barrier? As I told you, the person who was not COVID until yesterday has
sir.
shown COVID symptoms today in the morning when he reports for the shift. Let us look at this scenario, right?
Yes,
So
sir.
what is the first logical question that you're going to ask? Since yesterday evening when he left the premises when he was not COVID positive, or yesterday morning when we tested him, he was not COVID positive, he
Yes,
has
sir.
come in contact with how many people which are linked to the facility.
Yes,
And
sir.
that screening will begin the way he works. Now let us take an example. He works in the quality control lab. So where is his exposure going to be with all those people in the quality control laboratory? Now supposing he is involved only in chemical analysis and doesn't go into the instrumentation room. So there the people at instrumentation room may probably be at a lower risk. But again, then you will have to at least to start with quarantine these people, home quarantine, and they should be asked to report if they have any symptoms to the factory, because GMP guidelines says that people who suffer from diseases, the management should encourage people to come forward and stand up and say, look, I am suffering from this. So the people who come in contact with him obviously will be quarantined. The area where he has worked previously will be stopped. New sanitation cycles will take place. It will be tested. Okay, and then the work will commence there. And the extent again depends, like some companies, had to close just few departments, but one company had to close a site which had 150 people. And just imagine, if that site is a API producing company, look at the safety angle also which has to be dealt through. You have to ensure that explosion is prevented. So the same procedure of quarantining, identify further isolates, what is the impact spread. And here we have to also check the impact spread on the quality of the product and from the patient risk perspective. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Madan.
Okay, thank you, Madan Gopal. Now making.
Who was the
some
first
questions
lady
towards-
who wanted to ask the question? Is she ready now? Can I take
Yeah.
her question? Dr.
Now moving towards Dr. Biswajit Das from Sikkim.
Yeah.
So Dr. Biswajit Das, now you can ask your question.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning, Dr. Bishwajit.
So very nice talk, sir. You have
Thank you. Thank you
given
for your
a
kind
quite
words.
lot of informations. So I have one question that how much time it will continue that COVID-19? What is the international scenario? And means government means pharmaceutical industry is, as far as pharmaceutical industry is concerned, when we are going to prepare manufacture that medicine. Till now it is in clinical trials. Can you give any? Do you have any idea regarding that?
Yeah. No, I'm being a little blunt. I'm being a little candid over here. Right now, we are trying a cyclovir group of compounds to see whether they are going to be effective or not. You all know that the anti-malarial drug, there are a lot of question marks about it. Because when we conclude the efficacy drug based on a certain trial, we need a good database, to form a conclusion. Currently, it is a directive kind of a thing. It's not a conclusive kind of thing. So we have to wait till the data is generated. Now, you know how phase 1 to phase 4 clinical trials take place, and we now are going to, for existing compounds, we'll have only one barrier there. Okay. So, but still, number of subjects enrolled, number of sites, investigators, data compilation, it's bound to take some time. Okay. Though you do it on a priority. And I need not tell anyone that any simple vaccine to be produced for any virus, trend analysis so far has said that it will take at least 1 year to 12 months to 18 months to finally launch a vaccine to come into the market. Thanks to the companies who are claiming it, it is only motivational talks for people, I feel. Okay, they are taking efforts, no doubt about that. We're trying to put it on the fast track. But my estimate, any vaccine cannot come before 12 to 13 months.
Thank you, sir.
Because going to the trial is one step, but coming from the trial, and I'm talking candidly, nothing against vaccine manufacturers. Let's keep ourselves motivated, but it'll take 1 year. See what happened when swine flu came into existence. 18 months के बाद वैक्सीन आया, और जब वो वैक्सीन आया तब तक नया स्ट्रेन भी आ चुका था उसका क्या करोगे? Okay, so multivalent and all, it will take a little time. I mean, मेरा estimate है 1.5 साल जाएगा इसमें.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Because it follows a procedure. If you just go through any biotechnological method of manufacturing a vaccine, you will see the steps how it happens. Right from its inoculation, harvesting, producing, then testing, and then going for trials. In the meantime, starting your regulatory approval process. It takes time. मेरा estimate तो 1 साल तो कम से कम इसमें जाना चाहिए. So let us consider January India में आया था, January 20. So my estimate is December 20 or Jan 21.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Biswajit Das. Now I'm coming to the next participant, Dr. Satyabrata Vanjo from Hyderabad. Dr. Satyabrata Vanjo, please ask your question.
Yes. Sir, hello, sir.
Hello, sir, Dr. Satyavat. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Sir, it's a very nice talk, sir. You have given
my
so
friend.
many
Thank
information, sir. Thank you.
No, doctor, I had to be a little, keeping in mind the maximum audience from educational institutes and students. So industry specific, बहुत कम मैंने बोला वैसे. And
Nice,
I
sir.
didn't go into those details kind of a thing. My
Yes, sir.
apologies for it, but
Not. It is very nice, sir.
yeah, thank you.
So my question is, sir, suppose you are preparing the home sanitizer, home hand sanitizer. Suppose isopropyl alcohol is not available. So what are the other composition you can go and we can prepare the home sanitizers?
Take Dettol, dilute it to 15% and apply it to your hands liberally. Allow the hands to naturally dry. It will take about less than a minute to dry your hands with Dettol also. Simplest way, I use it in my home. And I'm standing in front of you right now, nothing has gone wrong. Okay. So I use that. And if you...
No, sir, my question is, suppose isopropyl alcohol is not there, available. So...
you said home, na? So I said use Dettol.
Oh, Dettol, okay, right.
Diluted Dettol 10 to 15% dilution, that's all. बाकी कुछ करने की जरूरत नहीं है. और Dettol का लेबल पीछे से पढ़ना भाई.
Right.
It is effective against coronavirus.
Okay, yes,
Not this strain probably, but it is there. So,
right, sir. Right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Satyavrata Banju. Now I'm moving towards Deepali Bandari. So now your time you can ask. Deepali Bandari, are you online? Are you able to hear me? Deepali Bandari, are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So my question is, hello.
Yeah, Deepali, I am listening. Go ahead, please.
Sir, as we are using the biometric every day, right? While entering to the premises and outing for the premises, industry and outing the industry. So how long we can not use
it is discontinued now. It is discontinued. Because right now there is no other mechanism. Otherwise, one person does it, you have to sanitize it, then other person uses it. It's impractical. So different other mechanisms like barrier entries have been thought about by companies. Many companies have started discontinuing.
How long we cannot use this biometric?
So till this risk is over, or we find out some alternate thing. There are three postulates over here. Till we find an alternate method for entry, till this risk is over, and till we develop herd immunity. So all three postulates are. Yes. Thank you.
Coming towards Gaurav Singh. Gaurav Singh, now your time to ask the question. Gaurav Singh. Gaurav Singh, are you able to hear my voice? Okay.
We take next one, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Next, we'll move to the next participant. That is Asiya Manani. Hello.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, Gaurav, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Go ahead.
Sir, I have seen, sir, in many public places, some sanitizer tunnel are installed. It is effective on COVID-19 on sanitizing, sir?
No, it is not. So in pharmaceutical industry, we don't use it for entry of people. We use it for sanitizing raw material. So sanitizing tunnel is used for, sanitizing the raw material that enters the pharmaceutical plant. We don't use it.
Sir, but in many public places, it was installed now, sir.
No. It's an eye wash. I mean, so you read a WHO publication on that, which is openly available on the net. You can type Google, type and say WHO's position on sanitization tunnels. Their concept paper or position paper will be displayed, and you go through it. It is self-explanatory. Being a technical person, you'll understand it better.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Gaurav Singh, sir. Next participant, Ms. Sriya. Sriya, madam, you can ask your question.
Hello. I'm not actually sorry. I'm Dr. Sharat Chandran. It's my daughter's name. We've given on the phone. Okay. So it's a fantastic session.
Thank you so much.
Listened to you very carefully.
Yeah.
And my doubt may look odd for you.
No, not at all. Not at all. We always in training, in pharmaceutical industry training, I myself always say questions are never stupid, but answers could be stupid.
Okay.
So whatever
Okay,
stupidity will be done by me, not by you. Don't worry. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm from Kerala. I'm actually from Kerala. And my question is, there is a contradictory statement and there is scientific evidences also, which says that working in an air-conditioned condition, I mean the environment, may cause spreading of COVID fast. And as you know, our government is also not recommending air conditioned environment right now, and possibly we need to live with this COVID situation in our life for future. So basically, most of the pharmaceutical companies, or almost all the pharmaceutical companies, the manufacturing areas have got the environment which is air conditioned. So what is your suggestion, or what do you want to say in that part? Working in air condition, because we need to live with COVID.
As I told you, we have a system within the pharmaceutical industry called HVAC system, that is heating, ventilation, air conditioning.
Yeah.
So what do we do? What do we heat? We heat the air that is coming inside the pharmaceutical manufacturing facility. So what happens, you know, we keep the temperature as it is called as a comfort zone temperature, which is 23 plus minus 2. So it is from 21 to 25. And the relative humidity is kept between 40 to 60, which is not conducive for viral growth, but the temperature could be. But what happens within the pharmaceutical industry is, when we are running this HVAC systems, which doesn't happen in malls or theaters to this effective extent, is there is a concept called ACPH, that is air changes per hour. So we generally, for a non-sterile area, keep it at a rate of 20 air changes per hour, which means the entire volume of the room is periodically replaced in an hour 20 times. Look at it this way. So, and you know, there are different mechanisms by which it is done. So this itself ensures scavenging of the air, and as a result, you know, we work on the safety aspect too there.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you.
So
very
because
much.
see, if you go to a theater, when you come out, you suddenly feel very, while you're coming out, you feel very stuffy, you know.
Okay.
That's the reason
Yeah.
that the air is not, you know, circulated there with this efficiency as we do in the pharmacy.
So hopefully GMP may come up with a new guideline.
There are
to
many
combat
already
the
there.
COVID.
You know, there are about 6 to 7 guidelines that have been released. And your concern, even for domestic ACs, what we should do, there is a body called ASHRAE, American Society for Heating, Refrigeration, Air Conditioning Engineers. They have released a document called AIQ, Indoor Air Quality. IAQ, Indoor Air Quality. And the Indian arm is called as ISHRAE. So ISHRAE has given a guideline titled Managing Air Conditioning During COVID Times. It's a good comprehensive 17-page document where they have addressed air conditioners at home, in facilities, industries, as well as big malls and hotels.
Okay.
So already the guideline has come through. No problem.
Thank you, sir. God bless you. God bless you, sir.
Next one, coming to the next participant, Chitra Gupta. Chitra Gupta, now your time, you can ask your question. Chitra Gupta, kindly switch on your camera, please. We are unable to see
Her
your
voice
face.
is also cracking, so there's a lot. Yeah, Chitra, go ahead.
I wanted to know whether fumigation is of any use.
Fumigation, but we don't classical KMNO4 fumigation. We use quaternary ammonium compounds, and there are terminal foggers, you know, as you see around in other places. So fumigating using terminal fogging agents is useful to a certain degree, but then the spectrum is questionable there. It doesn't provide a broad spectrum coverage too. So it's of use, right? It's called as terminal fogging now.
Hello,
Yeah,
Chitra Gupta.
so I have answered a question. You can go to the
Next participant, Balwant Singh. Balwant Singh, now I'm making unmute. You can ask your question. Now, Balwant Singh, over to you.
Thank you so much for. I'm very much excited to know that. My question is, what is salvaging in product recall and all that? Actually, I'm in academics and I came to know this topic is there. Salvaging. I will be more than happy if you'll answer my question. Salvaging. Salvage product or product recall in some in that topic.
Now what happens is, I manufacture a product.
Yes, sir.
Using a particular system. there is a
Right.
possibility that either a batch may be effective or batches may be effective,
Okay.
or some unit may be defective. So if a unit is defective, we have got different ways to handle it. That is called as market complaint. But if the entire batch or batches are effective and we recall it back to the plant, to the pharmaceutical plant,
Okay.
to destroy it further so that the users are not posed at an undue health risk, all these systems that are involved now, like reworking, all this comes under drug product salvage.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your answer.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you, Balwant Singh. Next participant, Sachin Kumar Prasad. Sachin Kumar Prasad, are you able to hear my voice? Okay. So thank you everyone, because I'm getting some name, but the thing is that particular name it is not
I
mentioned.
think, doctor, we should stop. Dama knows what.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
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 sir.
yes, yes. We are going to stop the session.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Now I'm moving to our principal, sir, Dr. Ganesh Dama, sir, to take the in charge of this.
Yes, sir. Dr. Atul Sirgaonkar, sir, I'm very thankful on behalf of all the participants and on behalf of our Sharat Chandra Pawar College of Pharmacy, which is located in Pune, Maharashtra. Because I want to mention here the detail about the institutes, because number of participants, they are from the outside of the states also. And sir, you have covered the topics very well. Whatever the theme of our topic, everything was being included over there. And you have covered the 9 topics in shortly regarding that of the GMP. Even you have been covered what are the changes that are being made. What are the changes actually that has been made in the industries nowadays, and how the car sanitization, how the person when entering into the industry, and whether his temperature has to be checked it or not by using the thermometers, various guidelines regarding the mask and all that, whether it should be usable or and how it is to be disposable by all the way, and even the use of N95 mask and all that, even the separate entries for the employees and the separate entry for the drivers, those who are associated with any type of the industries. Such types of the questions you have been covered, even the numbers of the SOP, 4-5 SOPs which are being working as a guidelines nowadays in this COVID-19. These are also one of the important things that you have been covered in today's topic, how the entry in the manufacturing area, where how the personal hygiene has to be maintained. Even regarding that of the what is the difference in between the washing the hands and sanitization of the hands. Such types of the questions are also being you have been covered in very well manner. You have given the demo for that also, and how to get the sanitize your hands and all. How your demo inspector will also come and ask to wash the hands and all these things. Even the sanitization about the industry or the outside premises, how it is being useful and how why it is to be useful and how periodically has to be carried out. Though the industries are being painted by oil paints or by watercolors, and even the vaccination, how much time it will take for the vaccination, for at least 1 hour, 1 year it will take for the vaccination. These topics you have been covered very well in your topic. I am very thankful to you, sir. And I want to know all the participants that the speaker who is today with us, Mr. Atul Sirgaonkar, sir, actually one bad news, one sad news for us that last night his father, Atul Sirgaonkar sir's father, is no more, and then also he is with us and he is delivering his talk with us, because he knows that though his father was no more in the world, then also he has delivered his talk in the morning at 11 o'clock. That's why little bit delay was there, because some guests were there, but everything was being finished. And I request you, sir, to stop this one so that we'll postpone our session or we'll discontinue our session. Then also, if the person is devoted to his profession and if he is committed to his words, then also even a person like Atul Sirgaonkar sir, he is very committed to the people or committed to the professions, because he knows that there are about 1,000 participants are waiting for me to listen. and that's why he has made his mind. He has made his mind very strong and delivered this today's lecture. Though he is in a very critical situation where even a person like us also it is unable to deliver such types of such type of the talk and to address the peoples. And I'm very much thankful for you also, sir. And I'm having a very deepest condolence on behalf of all the participants towards your father. And I pray for the God on behalf of all the participants and myself on behalf of our institutes, the deepest condolence to the death of your father. And may God rest his soul in peace. We all are with you, sir, in all these situations. I'm very thankful for you on behalf of participants also. I'm pray for the God to rest your father's soul in peace. Very thankful, sir. Thank you to all, sir. And thank you to participants, sir.
God bless all of you.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, moving towards Dr. Sumit Joshi to give the vote of thanks of this today session. Dr. Sumit Joshi, it's about to you.
Hello.
Yes. You are audio.
Hello, good afternoon all.
Yes, yes.
I'm Dr. Sumit Ashok Joshi. Associate Professor, Department of Pharmacology, Sharat Chandra Pawar College of Pharmacy. It's my privilege to have been asked to propose a vote of thanks for our today's webinar. I, on behalf of Sri Gajanan Maharaj Shikshan Prasarak Mandal, Sharat Chandra Pawar College of Pharmacy Management, beloved Principal Sir, heartily vote of thanks to our today's speaker, Mr. Atul Shirgavkar Sir, for who have given us his valuable time as well as explain and give or bless us with his knowledge and experience in the field of pharmaceutical industry in the quality management system guidelines for the good manufacturing practices. Thank you, sir, for your valuable lecture. I also would like to extend my special thanks to our beloved principal, sir, Dr. G.Y. Dama, sir, always inspired us to conduct such type of event. Thank you, sir. I also thank you one and all the participants, dear teacher, colleagues, teaching, non-teaching staff, and all the participants to make our today's webinar at a great success. Thank you one and all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Sri Robert, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you.
And thanks for joining with us. And next we'll meet on 17th May with new topic, with new speaker. Thank you very much. Stay home, stay safe.
Okay, we will leave.